Yo! So now we are in Kyoto. It's a beautiful, sunny, and clear day today here, and so we're gonna take advantage of it. On our way to our first lunch in Kyoto, we couldn't help but stop by the Higashi Honji temple. It's a temple very near the Kyoto station, and we couldn't help but appreciate the exacting wooden construction of the temple. I think it was built around like 1850 or so, and in order to construct the temple, they had to use these hemp ropes that weren't strong enough to pull the wooden lumber for building the temple, so they had to ask for donations from females, hair donations, to reinforce the hemp rope. So it's a very beautiful temple, and it's close by the Kyoto station, so check it out. So far, our impression of walking in Kyoto is that it's more pleasant to walk around here because there's less bikes on the sidewalk. Also, the sidewalks are quite a bit wider than the ones in Osaka, and there's just more nature, more greenery, and the buildings are not as tall as they are in Osaka. Our first meal in Kyoto was at Matcha Inoichi Hanahare, which is a bib gourmand, a Michelin distinction ramen restaurant, which is pretty small. There were about 12 people in line in front of us, and we had to wait about an hour and 10 minutes to get into the ramen shop. So we ordered their sukemen, which is the dipping noodles, and we got the Wagyu dipping noodles and also the Kyoto pork dipping noodles, and both of them were very good. The dipping noodles, the soba type noodles that they use, are kind of chewy, they're thick, and they're very refreshing. They're not a heavy smushy noodle. They're more on the cold side, so the noodles themselves are cold, but the broth is warm, and so you dip the noodles into the broth and eat it. Overall, the broth and the ingredients in the broth are very meaty. It's a very herby and great tasting broth, so we highly recommend checking it out if you're willing to wait for about an hour to get the food. We forgot to mention that the Matcha Inoichi ramen restaurant also has shumai, pork shumai, and you should definitely get at least one order of the pork shumai because they are very delicious. So after the ramen, we decided to go get some matcha desserts at a matcha place right near the ramen restaurant. I think it's Shoryu something. I don't know what it is, but you can check out the video. It has the name of the restaurant. So in the matcha place, we got some matcha shaved ice along with some warabi mochi and some mochi balls, and then we also got like a dorayaki along with a matcha drink. So the matcha at this matcha place is very strong, so if you're not like a matcha lover, we probably wouldn't recommend getting the matcha items at the sweets restaurant. So they have some other choices like strawberry and other ice cream desserts that you might want to try. But overall, it was a very good experience there. It's a bit on the pricey side, however. We were having some trouble finding the toilets in Kyoto, but it turns out that a lot of the toilets are in the temples. So as you're walking, you might pass by some temples, and that's where the toilets are. Since we are visiting Kyoto during the peak time, which is near the end of March, it's extremely crowded here, and we went to the temple on top of the hill. I forget what it's called. I think it's the Kiyomizu temple, and it was very crowded, but it's very beautiful today because the weather is perfect. It's around 17 degrees Celsius or about 63 degrees Fahrenheit today, and we really enjoyed it. As you can see, the cherry blossoms haven't bloomed yet, and once they do, I think it's even going to be more beautiful than it is now. There are a lot of hidden paths and hidden hikes in Kyoto. If you're interested or if you're a fan of walking around a lot, we are taking an alternate path from the Kiyomizu temple. This is the path to another temple. I think it's the Seikanji temple. It turns out the Seikanji temple is closed at 4 p.m. and so we are barely late. So we are just gonna be walking back towards Kiyomizu temple to head back down to Kyoto downtown area. One of the interesting and funny things that we've noticed walking around Japan is that once you deviate from the main path just a little bit, there's basically nobody. And once you get on the main road or the main street that people are walking, there's like a million people, and you step just like 100 meters away from the main street and there's barely anybody. So we're heading back again to the Kiyomizu street that heads down towards the city, and this particular street that we're on has nobody on it. With this beautiful day in Kyoto, we couldn't help but take a lot of pictures near the Kiyomizu temple area, which includes the Honji temple, and there's basically tons of picture taking opportunities. And now we're going to be heading back towards Kyoto Station to pick up our luggage. Clear, sunny days in Kyoto in March are very rare. So if you come in March and it's a clear, sunny day, really take advantage of it. Wait until golden hour around 5 p.m. and take a lot of pictures. Pretty much as you're walking around Kyoto, there are so many little attractions. Like constantly, you're walking and you see a temple, you see a garden, and it's really beautiful everywhere here. We enjoy a lot more than Osaka so far. Kyoto definitely seems like a city that has a more lively spirit compared to Osaka. You can definitely see people hanging out and walking by the river. The whole scenery here and all the different types of architectures and all the different feels of the different little alleyways that you come across make this city feel a lot more unique than Osaka does, where Osaka is more of a homogeneous city. Kyoto has a lot of things and a lot of different feelings that you get throughout the city. So that's all for our first day in Kyoto. We're gonna be skipping dinner tonight because we ate a whole bunch of little street food snacks on the way to Kiyomizu temple. So I hope you enjoyed watching our first day in Kyoto.